Here we go. And then finally, you guys, this has to be done every day. And when I say every day, I mean every day. Every day means every day. Dave Anderson, great leadership trainer, leadership speaker, written several books about leadership, says that in his company they have this term EdMed, okay? EdMed. Every day means every day. Every day means every day. EdMed. We've got to do it. It can't just be every now and then. It can't just be when things are serious. It has to be every day that you build this into your culture. Every single day, we're going to say it, write it, show it, model it. Okay? So as we start now giving instructions to our people of what we want them to do today, things that need to be accomplished today, we need to make sure that we do three things as we are communicating with people here. You must, boom, number one, you've got to be clear. As I can't spell clear and make it fuzzy. Let's try that again. You must be clear. Number two, you must be consistent. And number three, you must be constant. Okay? Love it. I think it was Newt Rockney that said, it's really hard to be aggressive when you're confused. So many times, us as managers, we lack clarity, or we lack consistency, or we lack a constancy. And therefore, our employees, our workers, are confused. We lead. Oh man, I just want to be careful with some toast. No, I don't want to be careful here. This needs to be said, you guys. So often, we as managers can lead emotionally. So we come in and we try to manipulate people's emotions. We try to, another word for manipulation here is we try to motivate. All right, this is something we're going to get into quite a bit in our next level of training, which is all on leadership. You guys, there's a huge difference between motivating and inspiring. Motivating, again, I don't think one's right and one's wrong, okay? And I want to be careful just getting tripped up in all the semantics of this. But you guys, by definition, motivating requires an outside source, okay? It requires an outside source to get people to do things. And if you're like me as a manager, if I personally have to continue to be the outside source, it can be pretty draining. Inspiration, on the other hand, has its roots in the very word of inspiration, has its roots in spirit. So it talks more, quite a bit more about an internal motivation, an internal motivator, an internal engine. And as leaders, we want to learn how to inspire and tap into that internal engine. Well, Clay, you just don't understand. My people don't have this internal engine. Okay, number one, that's your fault. Okay, that's your fault. Either you have hired incorrectly, okay? You didn't hire people with an internal engine, and now that you have them, you expect them to have an internal engine just because you really need it right now? It doesn't work like that. If you need that internal engine, if you need people that have energy, if you need people that are energizers, if you need people that execute, if you need people that know how to have edge and how to plow through difficult things, you have to hire those people. People that know what that's all about. This is probably one of the biggest problems that we have at the management level is we hire C-level players and then we want them and expect them to do A-level work. It just doesn't work that way. If you want A-level work, you have to hire A players. Well, Clay, I don't think you quite understand my situation. I just have to hire people. It's just really important. Okay, go back into the blaming everybody else and how hard your troubles are. But I tell you, as a manager, it's up to you to identify A players, recruit A players, interview A players, hire A players, onboard A players, evaluate A players, manage A players, reward A players, and promote A players. So often as managers, we just hire people because we hire in a hurry, we hire under pressure, we hire because we need somebody to do a job, and then we expect them to be A players, and they're just not. These will not be A players. Remember, 70% are disconnected, 24% actively disengaged. You guys, the workforce is not automatically A players. But if you can manage well, hire well, and manage well, you will find yourself, oh, it's a beautiful place if you can manage well. So, excuses, I love this from poor managers. I hear this all the time with people going, oh, the workers don't do what I want them to do, and oh my gosh, I can't get people to do this, and I can't get people to do that. You guys, again, what I hear in my head is, I'm a bad manager. But the excuses that I hear just over and over is, Clay, I'm too busy to do all of that. Or we say, well, isn't that me doing their work for them? I didn't hire them for me to do their work. It's, oh gosh, these excuses all the time. I don't have the time to do that. I hired them to do it. I shouldn't have to tell them everything. Okay, how's that working for you? Okay, I promise you, if you will be clear, consistent, and constant, if you will say it, write it, show it, and model it every single day, EdMed, then you will find that your frustrations will decrease tremendously because all of a sudden people are doing what you have asked them to do because you have asked them correctly. So what I want to do now is actually dive into the steps of putting together this system. So let's move to that next. Okay, so the thing here is, how do you get people to do what you want them to do? You guys, I get this question all the time. And again, when I give the answer, most managers go, well, I don't have time. Clay, that maybe works really good for you, but it won't work for me and stuff. Okay, you can use that excuse if you want. But I promise you, that excuse will get you more of the same. You have to follow this. You have to do this every single day. It's not going to be easy at the beginning. It's going to take time for you to get used to it, and it's really going to take time for your employees to get used to it. As a matter of fact, you may lose some employees because you start doing this, because they're going to start feeling like, oh my gosh, this used to be a great company. Yeah, for you, because you used to be able to get away with everything. You used to be able to do what you wanted to do, and nobody held you accountable. But all of a sudden, when you start holding people accountable, you guys, this is going to ferret out. Oh, there's a good word for you, okay? This is going to ferret out all of those C and B level players. Okay, so here we go. Let's dive into this. How do we get people to do? How do you get people to do what you want them to do? People to do what you want them to do. Oh, this is huge. You guys have what you want them to do. I'm sure you've probably seen the movie The Office. You guys, all right? Oh my, or no, it's not The Office. What is it? I think I've got it in here. The movie, oh, I've forgotten already. Yeah, the movie Office Space. That's what it is. Not the movie The Office, but Office Space. You guys, that movie is so painful. And the show, The Office, oh, it is so painful for me to watch. But Office Space is so funny because it really taps into our lives. It really taps into what it looks like in each of our offices. Just lack of accountability, just this detachment between management and the workforce. So let's get here. How do you get people to do what you need them to do? Now, you are going to need a couple of tools for this, okay? Most of the time, these tools, managers are not using these tools, and that's one of the things that makes it really hard. So again, I've done this management training across the country. I've spent months at a time training managers to use this specific tool. And they have told me, without exception, they have told me, Clay, this is freeing up time. Clay, all of a sudden there's this synergy in our office. Clay, all of a sudden as managers, as I'm training managers, I'm hearing their leaders say, wow, man, they are stepping into a whole new level of leadership and management and all that. And it's like, yeah, it might be a whole new level, but it's really management 101, okay? It's simply learning how to manage the work on a daily basis. So the tools that you are going to need to have, number one, is you need to have some type of a shareable to-do list. Okay? Now you may already be doing to-do lists, which is fantastic. But we need to make sure that whoever is in my group, is on my team, in my department, if I'm an entrepreneur, all of my employees all of my leaders, there needs to be some type of a shareable to-do list. So I'm going with technology here. I use Google Drive. And we use documents in Google Drive. It's been a great tool for us. There are several other options out there. You may have already in your company some type of internal software that everyone uses in your company. Start with that. Some of them can be pretty clunky. It's one of the great things about Google Drive that I like is it's very clean. All right, it makes it pretty easy. There's some others that I've worked with different managers across the country that, yeah, they already have this system in place and their management above them says, no, this is what you have to use. And it's not real clean. It's not always the easiest thing, but it's what they have to use. So we kind of make that thing work, all right? But first of all, you must have a shareable to-do list, something that you can simply click on buttons, share with other people, so everyone can see the to-do list and everyone is looking at the same to-do list, okay? Do not rely on your workers to have a same to-do list as you unless you share it with them, okay? In meetings, you say, be sure to write that down, okay? In your head, you're thinking they are writing down exactly what you just said. But in reality, what's happening is they're not writing it down like you just said it. Or they're getting a very different picture in their head of what it's going to look like when they complete that. So number one, we need to have a shareable to-do list. Number two, we have to make sure that we have a shareable document storage. Document storage. Some kind of cloud storage. Again, you may have this already in your company, someplace where all of these documents can be stored. In my companies, we use Dropbox to store all of our documents. Clay, what documents are you talking about here, okay? Management documents, okay? Everything, all of our systems that we've been talking about putting together. Yes, there is a system to everything. And it takes time to put all these systems together, but when you put them together, then what we do is we save them in Dropbox. And now when I'm giving somebody a to-do, all right, I make sure that I attach the system from Dropbox to the to-do. We'll talk about that here in just a moment, okay? Because that will free up your day. You guys, and when I say free up your day, I'm talking about managers telling me that all of a sudden they have like 20 extra hours. 20 extra hours. What would you do with 20 extra hours each week? Simply by organization being put into place. Simply by having an accountability system put into place. Guys, it'll change your world if you will do this. Let's see here. Like I said, I use Google Drive sheets for my to-do list. It's shareable, which is very important. I can invite other people to join this document so I can see multiple people's to-dos every single day. That's right. It's just one long to-do list. And what we do is, we'll talk about here in just a moment, I have some pictures here in the notes, is different people are different colors, all right? We just have a section for John, all right? Jonathan's going to do this, and Andrew's going to be doing this. And then we move on down and move on down and move on down, depending upon how many people you have in your department or how many people you have on your team. Everyone has to-dos that they are going to be working on today. Specific things that they need to accomplish today. Well, Clay, you don't understand. We have like these long projects. I get that, okay? There are definitely things that are to-dos, but these are long projects. They aren't accomplished in one day, but it may take a month or 2 or 3 or 5 months to accomplish. I get that, but I tell you, management, we need to tell them for that 5-month project, this is what you need to accomplish today. This is what you need to get done today. I need you to have this done today. So many times, this is where managers fall short. They just go, oh, it's a 5-month project. And so they just, how's that going? Yeah, I'm working on it. How's that going? Yeah, I'm working on it. And then all of a sudden you come to them and go, hey, I need it. And they're going, oh, I'm going to need a couple more days. What have you been doing? Okay, that's the phrase that we have. What have you been doing all this time? Because we haven't been watching over them every single day. Okay, so these are the two tools that we're going to need. Again, I love this. If you can't see it, you can't manage it. So we've got to get this thing out into a to-do list that everyone can look at. I'm looking at the to-do list, you're looking at the to-do list, and it's the same to-do list that we're all looking at. I love this. Even with Google Drive, it's real time. So if one person makes a change on it, I can actually sit there from another place, even from the beach. I can sit there and watch them making a change on it because it's real time right here. As opposed to if you have this in a Word document or something like that that's out there, then if one person makes a change on it, I don't see those changes. And so we can get to confusion really quickly because I don't see it. You can't manage it if you don't see it. Remember, as a manager, I want to be very careful delegating tasks, okay? I want to get to a point as a manager where I don't delegate tasks anymore. I only delegate systems to people. Workers won't be able to discern all the steps on their own and therefore will continue to come back to you over and over. Hey Clay, what is it I need to do next? Hey Clay, where's the thing? Hey Clay, how is it that we do this? Hey Clay, do you got a minute? Hey Clay, I started working on that, but I couldn't find the stuff. Hey, does anybody know where, I broke the thing? Hey, and there will be so many questions that can drive you crazy. I know you know what I'm talking about as a manager. But if we can, when we put together this to-do list, if we can answer 80% of those questions ahead of time, then all of a sudden people aren't continuing to come back to us over and over and over. And if they do continue to come back to you over and over and over, even though they have all the information right there, it's probably time to either train them better, number one, or probably time to get rid of them, because they can't walk through a system. I'm not expecting them to think on their own. I'm expecting them to be able to follow a system that I have given them. It's not a matter of them being able to think on their own. It's a matter of them being able to follow a system. Okay? Let's see here. They will continue to come back to you with multiple questions over and over. And even when you do complete it, it's usually not the exact outcome that you were wanting, even though they've had all of these questions. So you attempt to always delegate systems and checklists to your workers. Okay? Delegate systems and checklists. This will greatly reduce the need for ongoing communication and clarification. We're going to do it first so you don't have to do it over and over and over. Again, guys, I want to tell you, this is how we manage from a distance, how we micromanage from a distance. Again, I'm a huge micromanager, and if you don't micromanage every single day's activities, then you will find so quickly that your workforce, your team will begin to drift. Individuals will begin to drift from the primary activity, and all of a sudden now things are not efficient. Now things are not moving at pace. People are busy, but they're not productive. People are active and putting in a lot of effort, but there are no results. So this again, coming back to every day means every day. So as a manager, when you assign work, when you assign work to your workers, you always need to be sure to use the following method. Okay? So, what to delegate? When you are delegating, we need to, number one, who is going to be the person to do it? So the very first thing on this line that we're going to say on our to-do list, the very first thing that we're going to have is who is responsible for it. This is another thing that we can make a mistake on really quickly if we're not careful. As a manager, we will delegate to a team, okay? Whether it be a team of 2 or a team of 5. Yeah, I want you guys to work on this. I want you all to do that. And they'll go, okay, we're going to go work on it. And then they come back. Did we get it done? No, you didn't get it done. Okay, well, what's going on? And all of a sudden, fingers. All right, start pointing. Well, it wasn't me. It was the one-armed man. And it was all this kind of stuff as we're pointing at other people. So we don't delegate tasks to a team. We delegate tasks to a person. One person must be responsible for this specific thing. So when it needs to be done and I come to look for the results, I have one person to hold accountable. One person is in charge. So it has to be very specific who that person is going to be. You have to identify who is going to be responsible for that. One specific task to one specific person.